Before I came to the Abbey, I was working in the field of wilderness therapy, which was really amazing for me because it combined two things I'm really passionate about, being outdoors in the wilderness and then helping people. So there was one therapist Joe, and he would always read this poem, and it really touched me because it's an apt description of my life, and it was so beautiful. So I thought I wanted to share it with you. The author is Portia Nelson. It's from a book of poetry called There's a Hole in My Sidewalk, The Romance of Self-Discovery. And the name of this poem is called Autobiography in 5 chapters. Chapter 1. I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am hopeless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. Chapter 2. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. But it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it is there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down another street. So I mentioned this poem because I think it relates to this retreat we're doing right now, at least for me. And I noticed that it also relates to what Geshe was teaching yesterday in the Rice Seedling Sutra. So in this retreat, we've been focusing on mindfulness and paying attention to what we're doing. We are transforming from non-virtuous habit energy to virtuous habit energy. And for me, it's been this long, painful, slow journey of transforming my mind. In one way, we could think of the entire Buddhist path as mind transformation. That's what we're constantly engaged in. And luckily, we have the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas and all our great teachers who have showed us this path, which is so amazing. I feel so grateful for that. So if we looked at the Tibetan word for meditation, it could be translated like to get used to get familiar with, to accustomize to. So we're getting used to this new way of being, this new way of thinking, which takes a long time because we have these very, very strong habits, these deeply ingrained habitual patterns we've been doing for so long. So it feels like turning the Titanic 180 degrees. It's this very long, slow process. I really want it to happen now because I know where I want to be. I know where I want to go. But like the poem says, I can't believe I'm in the same place. I fall in that hole again and again and again. It happened yesterday and it happened the day before. I could feel the affliction rising. I could see it and watch it coming. And it was too strong and a little too fast for me to handle it. So the best I could do was just to walk away. And at that moment, in this place where I am in my practice right now, that's the best I can do, and that's okay. I didn't engage in gross negative actions. So I'm happy about that. I used to think that if I wasn't having a gross affliction, very obvious and blatant to everyone, then that meant I didn't have the affliction. which seems really naive now, but I can see that under this layer of gross afflictions, there's all these subtler levels of afflictions. And when I look closely, especially during retreat and being mindful, I can see that they are very present in my mind stream because I've been cultivating them most of my life. I also used to think that I could just think whatever I wanted and it didn't matter. And that also seems naive, but I could live in this fantasy world and play out my fantasies, all my afflictions, as long as I didn't act them out. I really thought that was totally okay. I thought that I could just think anything and it wouldn't affect my actions. And now I can see by having the Dharma and looking at my mind much, much closer, it's very clear that my mind has a very strong effect on my actions. Which seems so obvious now, but at the time, if you're not looking at your mind and paying attention like most people, then you can just engage in all kinds of non-virtue without paying attention at all. It's really amazing. Looking back now, not with shame, but with just a sense of awe. I can't believe I was doing that. It's really incredible. So like Geshe Tabke was saying just yesterday, how the mind is primary and our actions of body and speech originate from the intention that we have. So if our intentions are virtuous, we're going to engage in virtuous actions of body and speech. And if our mental intention is non-virtuous, we're going to engage in non-virtue. So that's been really helpful for me to see these mental habits arise in my mind stream, be able to locate them and catch them before they come out, and hopefully transform them into something that's more virtuous. Geshe also said, he was talking about karma and how we were experiencing the effects of the actions that we have performed in the past. So we will experience future effects, the results of what we're creating right now. So it's so important for me to focus very carefully on my actions of body, speech, and mind so that I can enjoy the happiness and the virtue that is the result later on. And then hopefully we can spread this out to all beings. I think chapter 3 really gets to me. Chapter 2 has the line, "I can't believe I'm in the same place," which really speaks to me. But chapter 3, there's this slow progression, but chapter 3 seems like where it all starts to click for Portia. It is a habit. She realizes what's going on. She can see the pattern going through again and again and again. Now her eyes are wide open. She knows where she is, and she's starting to take accountability. It is my fault. Now that we're accountable for our actions, we can do something about it. If we just blame other people, we want the whole world to change to fit our ideal of what it should be. Then it's like we're covering the whole world in leather instead of putting on our leather shoes to protect us from the thorns. So luckily the Buddha has shown another street to follow. He's got the lamp so we can see very clearly. There's these other streets that I've been following down. They're so glitzy and glamorous, and the smells and the lights are incredible. It's like Atlanta at night. But I don't want to go down these because I know the results of these streets. And so hopefully we can follow the path of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha and take different paths that are more beneficial for us and for those around us. So I challenge everyone this week to look at the habitual patterns that you're following day after day after day. Look at the streets you're following and look at the holes that you keep falling into. And hopefully make a strong determination to go down different paths that don't have so many holes, where the Buddha has been before and he knows that it's safe and comfortable and you'll enjoy the ride all the way to Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.